Uber controls over 74% of market share in the US. However, just like many others, this company and its co-founder Travis Kalanick had its ups and downs. For instance, there was a massive movement, #DeleteUber in 2017, in response to the company's rising prices during peak hours. Also, a lot of drama over toxic masculinity in the workplace and managers regularly overstepping, verbally, physically, and sometimes sexually towards employees. Rumor has it, Kalanick knew all about it and did nothing. No wonder some tabloids called him emotionally unintelligent. But this is not even close to the 3 major scandalous facts I'll tell you all about now. At first, the company was called Uber Cab, so people would know it is a taxi service, and it was founded in 2009 by Garrett Camp, who later invited his friend Travis Kalanick to the team. At that time, taxi companies in many cities required procedures such as taxi-based stations, licenses, security measures, and other conditions. Uber Cab ignored them all and focused on rather rapid expansion and played it dirty. The company attracted freelance drivers and didn't request anything else but a smartphone. And in exchange, Uber Cab didn't provide any formal papers, taxes, or insurance to them. This is when Kalanick renamed the company to Uber, saying that their company is not about a regular taxi service. Instead, it is about unique software and technology. Yet, the authorities put pressure on drivers to refuse unlicensed work at Uber and threatened them with punishments and fines. But Uber supported the drivers and regularly sent notices saying that any fines received while driving in an Uber would be fully refunded to the drivers. Also, Uber developed secret software called GreyBall to find and block any government officials trying to disguise themselves as customers using the Uber app to catch an Uber driver red-handed. Do you know how GreyBall helped with that? GreyBall worked like a shadow ban. Those users could open an app, but there will be no cars available. The GreyBall algorithm tracked the user's location in certain areas where the application was downloaded or used. If it was, for example, a police station or a government agency, this user was under suspicion. After that, Uber checked the account, including credit card information, comparing data with social networks, and if it turned out that the user was associated with a public official, GreyBall came in handy. And it was not the first time Travis played dirty. Travis founded RedSwoosh, the technology to transfer large digital data files efficiently in 2000. When the company ran into trouble, RedSwoosh withheld income tax from employee salaries to save money, which was illegal, of course, but Travis reinvested the money into the startup in an attempt to keep RedSwoosh afloat. He managed to avert bankruptcy and raised another round of funding. Unpaid taxes ended up going to the IRS, and RedSwoosh was sold in 2007 to cloud services company Akamai Technologies for about $19 million. GreyBall is the first milestone, but when it comes to global expansion, Uber hit another crucial point and was even threatened by Apple. Travis invested $1.25 million in 2010. A year later, Uber attracted another $43 million from Menlo Ventures, Jeff Bezos, and Goldman Sachs. So the company aggressively took over the markets of the USA, Canada, UK, France, Germany, and India. But when it came to China, Kalanick's usual strategy miserably failed. Drivers in China outsmarted him, and here's how. The Chinese market was occupied by Didi, so Uber offered local drivers an incredible referral program and bonuses for customers' first rides, and hoped that this strategy would impact Didi's market position. But drivers quickly realized how much money they can make by simply buying a phone, taking a ride, and then reinstalling the app to do it all over again. And it all was possible because Apple's policy update prevented Uber from tracking unique device numbers. When Uber realized it's been fooled around, its engineers developed a code to identify and tag iPhones, a practice called fingerprinting. Now, Uber could identify devices even if they were reset and turned on again. There was just one problem. Fingerprinting an iPhone violated Apple's policies. Travis knew this and didn't want Apple to find it out, so he also had his engineers install geofence at Apple's Cupertino headquarters, a way to digitally identify people browsing Uber software in a specific location. Apple employees at its headquarters couldn't trace this trick, but it didn't last long. Apple engineers outside of Cupertino exposed Uber's practices. Timothy Cook set a meeting with Kalanick and warned him to stop this scam, or the Uber app would be removed from the Apple App Store forever. Kalanick could potentially lose millions of iPhone users, so he gave up and eventually merged with Didi in 2016. This time, Travis was forced to give up, but it was not the first time for him to use little tricks and stay afloat. His entrepreneurial career began in school when he founded New Way Academy, offering SAT tutoring. Later, Later, he dropped out of college to run a startup called Score. It was a peer-to-peer file sharing service similar to Napster that allowed people to digitally share music and media without legal barriers. Score, which was eventually sued for $250 billion for copyright infringement, filed for bankruptcy in October 2000, shielding the founders from legal action. Another milestone is the battle for the market. Uber wanted nothing less but a monopoly and did everything to make that happen. Travis studied well at school, played football, and well performed in athletics. Yet he was an outsider, and kids regularly bullied him. Later, he promised himself that such assaults would never happen to him again, and he kept this promise. Travis applied several questioning strategies against Uber's competition. He also created so-called competitive intelligence teams at Uber, acquiring data from the analytical service Slice Intelligence. Slice collected emailed Lyft receipts and sold this data to Uber. Uber used it to analyze its competitors' business. This also made them create UberX, a more affordable version of its original service, in response to rival Lyft's cheap offerings. But when Uber went even further and also tried to win over Lyft drivers in every possible way, Uber employees staged real sabotage, massively ordering taxis under the guise of a Lyft client and canceling trips. And those who didn't cancel talked to Lyft drivers along the way to convince them to switch to Uber full-time. At some point, Lyft president John Zimmer was even ready to sell Lyft in exchange for 15% of Uber's shares. But Travis only laughed at Zimmer's offer. No agreement was reached, and Lyft itself later declined to comment. Despite it all, Uber carried on with this behavior. What's more is that Uber no longer even considers Lyft as its rival, because Lyft truly struggles right now. The company barely coped through the pandemic. Unlike Uber, Lyft played by rules. It didn't work during COVID-19, and it almost killed the company. But it is not just Lyft. Kalanick is no longer in the picture too. Amid all the chaos surrounding Uber, lawsuits, sexism, negative media attention, everything in 2017, Travis went through a lot of stress when his parents were in a terrible boat accident. His father was hospitalized in serious condition, and Travis' mother died. After that, Travis publicly apologized for some moments of his behavior and for the first time said that he needed the help of management and announced that he was taking a vacation from Uber to work on himself. Well, in December 2019, Travis Kalanick stepped down from the board of directors of the company and sold approximately 90% of his shares in Uber for a profit of about $2.5 billion. In private, and sometimes publicly, Travis liked to describe Uber, the car-hailing service, as the Amazon of the transportation business. The resemblance was obvious. Amazon started as an online bookstore, but it was never just about selling books. For 2 decades, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has methodically expanded his company's product range, operating infrastructure and ambitions to ultimately ignite the entire retail industry. Uber, in Travis' vision, was also never limited to hailing taxis, but was only a gateway to a business model that could turn the entire global transportation industry upside down, changing the way people and good moves around the world. This business model was to turn Uber into a tech giant that would dominate the industry for centuries. I suspect that if you told Kalanick or Bezos that some competitor found a way to sell the same product as them but at a significantly lower price, these guys would immediately copy it or try to take over the competitor despite the risks to short-term profits. Sacrificing big money today for a potentially huge market share tomorrow is a hallmark of both Bezos and Kalanick. A lot of people compare Uber's struggles to failed startups like Theranos, WeWork, and so on, but I don't think the comparison is entirely fair. Yes, Kalanick openly ignored many rules and regulations, retreating only when he was caught. Yes, he violated the rules of ethics and somewhere the norms of morality. Yes, he often fought competitors and capitalized on legal loopholes and gray areas to gain a business advantage, and there was a lot of controversy during Travis' tenure as CEO. Nevertheless, the whole world of startups envy Uber's success, and Travis is a truly talented entrepreneur. I suggest you have a look at my videos about WeWork and Theranos and make up your mind regarding Uber's story. I would love to know what you think about it all in the comments below this video. By the way, not everyone knows about this, but Travis is a passionate librarian and a fan of the writer Ayn Rand, so he might have learned some ideas for building an ideal world from her famous books. Well, according to his mentor, billionaire investor Mark Cuban, Travis' biggest weakness is that he is willing to go through the wall to achieve his goals. That's the best way to describe it. Whatever you think of Travis Kalanick, the success of the company he created is undeniable. Uber users have made over 1 billion rides in over 600 cities worldwide since Travis co-founded Uber in 2009. Today, the company operates in approximately 70 countries and 10,500 cities. The company has over 131 million monthly active users and 5.4 million active drivers worldwide. Uber drivers make an average of 23 million trips per day through all of the services combined. Uber's market capitalization is $100 billion. Uber's success netted its founder a net worth of around $2.5 billion. And yes, Uber has truly changed the transportation industry, and its business continues to grow despite all the drama and those scandals we talked about today. Keep up learning, guys. Success is just the number of attempts.